December 16th, 1944, 05:30 hours. Ardennes Forest, Belgium. Fog clings to the snow-draped pines like a shroud, muffling the distant rumble of engines. American GIs huddle in foxholes, breath freezing in the pre-dawn chill, rifles slick with frost. Suddenly, the earth trembles. German artillery erupts in a deafening roar, shells screaming overhead, splintering trees into deadly shards. Panzer tracks grind through the mist, SS troops advancing in ghostly waves, their breaths steaming like dragons in the winter air. You can almost feel the panic ripple through the lines, the surprise attack shattering the quiet front. But miles away, in a dimly lit command tent in Luxembourg, General George S. Patton, Jr. paces like a caged panther, his ivory-handled pistols glinting under the map light. The Third Army's commander, with his polished boots and starched uniform, has been the butt of jokes among Allied brass. His brash speeches, his obsession with speed, dismissed as flamboyant arrogance. Old blood and guts, they mock, rolling eyes at his relentless drive that pushed his tanks across France like a storm. Yet Patton senses the shift in the wind. Intelligence whispers of a German buildup, but Eisenhower's staff waves it off. Patton's aides watch him sketch arrows on the map, his voice a gravelly bark. "The Krauts are comin', and when they do, we'll hit 'em where it hurts." His armored divisions, the M4 Shermans and M5 Stuarts of the 4th Armored, stand ready, fueled by his unyielding fury. The forest explodes in chaos. American units reel, the 106th Infantry Division encircled, prisoners marching into the snow. Malmedy whispers of massacre reach the wires, SS executing captured Yanks in cold blood. Patton's jaw sets. He's been sidelined, laughed at, but now the Bulge bows outward like a wound. As the German spearhead, Kampfgruppe Piper's Panthers, charges deeper, Patton turns to his staff, eyes blazing. "Gentlemen, this is our moment." But can his mocked genius pivot in time, or will the Ardennes swallow the Allies whole? December 17, 1944, 0400 hours. Verdun, France. Snow lashes the canvas of Patton's mobile headquarters, the wind howling like artillery rounds. Inside, bare bulbs swing overhead as staff officers crowd the map cable, faces gaunt from sleepless nights. Patton stands motionless, cigar clenched between teeth, staring at the bulging German salient now 60 miles deep. Bastogne, a vital crossroads town, sits surrounded, the 101st Airborne dug in, low on ammo, frost-bitten fingers clutching M1 Garands. The Germans demand surrender. Brigadier General McAuliffe's reply echoes through the wires, "Nuts." Patton slams a fist on the table. "We're going north, all of us." His voice cuts the room like a bayonet. The plan is insane. 3 divisions of the Third Army, nearly 133,000 men and 400 tanks must wheel 90 degrees right in the dead of winter, over ice-slick roads clogged with refugees and wrecked vehicles, then smash into the German flank. 24 hours, that's the window he's giving himself. The brass at SAHEF think it's impossible. Even his own corps commanders exchange glances of doubt. Engines roar to life in the dark. M4 Shermans of the 4th Armored Division grind out of assembly areas, tracks chewing frozen mud, headlights dimmed to slits against Luftwaffe night fighters. Truck convoys snake through villages, headlights painting ghostly shadows on snowbanks. Patton rides in his command jeep, fur-collared greatcoat flapping, barking orders into the SCR 300 radio. "Move! Move! God damn it, if you're not shooting Krauts by tomorrow, I'll have your ass." His men, exhausted from the race across France, respond with grim silence and throttle down harder. Road signs are torn down by panicking civilians. Bridges groan under the weight of tank transporters. Fuel bowsers race to keep pace. Every hour lost means Bastogne bleeds. Piper's Kampfgruppe is already 20 miles beyond Stavelot, executing stragglers, burning villages. Word of the Malmedy massacre spreads like poison. American prisoners machine-gunned in a field, bodies left in the snow. Rage ignites in every GI's chest. They drive faster. By dusk, the spearheads of Combat Command A reach the Eartha River line. Bridges are down, ice too thin to cross. Engineers curse and wrestle with pontoons in the freezing dark. Patton paces the riverbank, breath steaming, eyes fixed north. The Germans are still advancing. Bastogne's perimeter shrinks by the hour. If he fails to break through tomorrow. December 19th, 1944. 0700 hours. Near Neuchâtel, Belgium. Dawn bleeds pale gray across the snowfields, turning the landscape into a frozen hellscape of shattered pines and burning hulks. The lead elements of Combat Command B, 4th Armored Division, Shermans with their 75mm guns traversed, half-tracks packed with grim-faced infantry, grind forward through knee-deep drifts. Tracks slip, engines howl in protest, but the column pushes on. Patton's order rings in every headset. No halting, no excuses. Bastogne by Christmas, or I'll court-martial the lot of you. You hear the first crack of German 88s before you see the muzzle flashes. Panthers dug in hull down along the ridgeline, their long 75mm barrels spitting fire. A Sherman erupts in a fireball 20 yards ahead, turret blown skyward, crew scrambling from the inferno. GIs pour out of half-tracks, bellies to the snow, M1s barking in reply. Bazooka teams crawl forward through the drifts, white camouflage smocks blending with the blizzard that's starting to swirl again. The air stinks of cordite, diesel, and roasting flesh. Patton arrives in his jeep, standing upright like a figurehead on a warship, red scarf whipping in the wind. He leaps out, strides to the front, voice booming over the gunfire. "Get those goddamn tanks moving! Hit 'em hard and fast!" An aide tries to pull him back. Patton shrugs him off, eyes locked on the enemy line. A stray round winds past his head. He doesn't flinch. His presence alone electrifies the men. They surge forward, engineers blasting a path through barbed wire with Bangalore torpedoes, infantry storming machine gun nests with grenades and bayonets. By noon, the first breach opens. Combat Command A punches through at Bigonville, Shermans rolling over German POC 40 anti-tank guns, crushing their crews beneath steel tracks. The road to Bastogne lies open, barely. German reserves rush to plug the gap, elements of the 5th Fallschirmjäger Division, paratroopers fighting with the desperation of men who know retreat means a firing squad. Close-quarters slaughter erupts in the hamlets, house to house, bayonet against bayonet, men screaming as they die in doorways. Radio traffic crackles with urgency. Bastogne's defenders report German panzers probing the southern perimeter, artillery pounding the town square into rubble. The 101st is down to a few rounds per man, medics operating by flashlight in cellars. Patton's voice cuts through the static to McAuliffe. "Hang on, you magnificent bastards! We're coming!" Night falls like a curtain of black ice. The column halts only to refuel, mechanics working by torchlight, hands bleeding on frozen bolts. Ahead, the horizon glows orange, Bastogne burning. The Germans sense the relief force closing. Their attacks intensify, trying to crush the town before help arrives. If Patton's tanks don't break through by dawn.
December 26th, 1944. 14:45 hours. Bastogne outskirts, Belgium. The sky is low and leaden, spitting sleet that stings like shrapnel. Combat Command Reserve of the 4th Armored, Lieutenant Colonel Creighton Abrams at the point in his Sherman named Thunderbolt 4, crests the final ridge south of the town. Below lies a cauldron of smoke and ruin. Bastogne's church steeple jagged against the gray, houses gutted by 88mm fire, the perimeter a jagged scar of foxholes and burning wrecks. Abrams spots the first friendly tracers, faint red arcs from the 101st's positions. "We're here, boys," he growls into the throat mic. "Let's punch through." The lead platoon surges forward, 30 Shermans and tank destroyers, engines roaring defiance, 76mm guns barking at dug-in German pack guns. A Panther swings its turret, too slow. Thunderbolt's gunner squeezes the trigger. The German turret explodes in orange flame, crew bailing out only to be cut down by 50 cal fire from the half-tracks. You feel the ground shake as the column crashes into the southern defenses. German paratroopers rise from their holes, MG-42s chattering death, but the American tide is unstoppable. Infantry dismount, bayonets fixed, charging through the drifts with hoarse yells. Grenades arc into machine gun nests, flamethrowers roar, turning snow to steam and screams to silence. The breakthrough widens, first a gap, then a corridor, then a roaring highway of steel. Inside Bastogne, the 101st hears the thunder. Men in cellars lift frost-bitten faces, eyes wide. "That's 3rd Army," someone whispers. A cheer ripples through the lines, weak but fierce. Medics pause mid-bandage. Wounded soldiers prop themselves up to listen. General McAuliffe stands on a shattered street corner, binoculars raised, watching the dust plume of American tanks grow closer. His radio man relays the message to Patton. "Contact made. Relief in progress." Patton, 10 miles south in his command half-track, receives the word and allows himself the barest smile. He lights a fresh cigar, exhales smoke into the freezing air. "Tell Abrams, well done. Now keep pushing. Don't stop until we link up clean." His voice carries no triumph yet, only grim satisfaction. The Germans are reeling. Modal's Army Group B throws desperate counterattacks, but the momentum has shifted. Panzers that once terrorized the Ardennes now burn in neat rows along the roads. By 1650 hours, the first Shermans roll into Bastogne Square. GIs of the 101st swarm the tanks, slapping hulls, embracing drivers smeared with grease and soot. Tears freeze on cheeks, cigarettes are passed hand to hand. The siege is broken. But Patton knows the Bulge is far from over. German reserves still lurk in the forests, and Hitler's gamble hangs by a thread. As night falls, fresh columns pour north. The counteroffensive begins in earnest. December 27, 1944, 0600 hours. Ardennes front, north of Bastogne. Dawn breaks cold and merciless, the sky the color of tarnished steel. Fresh snow blankets the wreckage, smashed Panzer IVs, gutted Shermans, bodies frozen where they fell. The 3rd Army surges forward like a steel avalanche. Patton's divisions fan out. The 4th Armored drives northeast toward Houffalize. The 26th Infantry Division claws through the woods to the east. The 80th Infantry pushes to seal the southern shoulder. Columns of M4s and tank destroyers roar past cheering paratroopers of the 101st, who now join the hunt. You smell the acrid bite of burning oil, hear the relentless growl of engines, and the sharp crack of 105mm howitzers pounding German positions. Patton has turned the relief into a hammer blow. His orders are simple, brutal. Attack, attack, attack. Give them no rest. He rides at the head of a reconnaissance platoon in his open jeep, red lights flashing, horn blaring, forcing traffic aside like a man possessed. Staff cars skid off icy roads to let him pass. Colonels salute as he streaks by, cigar glowing, face set in grim triumph. The Germans crack under the pressure. Model's Army Group B, once so confident in Hitler's Ardennes gamble, now faces encirclement. Kampfgruppe Piper, the spearhead that terrorized the advance, is cut off near La Glaise, low on fuel, ammunition spent, survivors abandoning their panthers and fleeing on foot through the snow. SS troopers who executed prisoners at Malmedy now become the hunted, harried by vengeful GIs who remember every atrocity. By January 3, 1945, the Bulge is collapsing inward. American pincers close at Hufvillise. The last German escape routes are severed. Thousands of Wehrmacht troops surrender in droves, exhausted, frostbitten, morale shattered. Hitler's last great offensive in the West has bled the Reich dry. Over 100,000 casualties, hundreds of irreplaceable tanks lost, Luftwaffe squadrons decimated trying to support the ground forces. The panzers that once rolled unchecked now sit as smoking monuments along frozen roads. Patton stands on a ridge overlooking the battlefield, wind whipping his scarf, binoculars trained on the distant columns of prisoners trudging west under guard. His Third Army has pivoted, attacked, and won in conditions that should have broken lesser men. The mockery from Schaeff fades. Even Eisenhower now speaks of him with grudging respect. The road to the Rhine lies open. Berlin waits. The man they laughed at has become the unrelenting force that shattered Hitler's final dream.